welcome again. Next up, we've got a video that's presented by Paddy Moore, and Paddy's presenting a workshop about something he's really passionate about. Paddy's real passion lies with team leadership and team development. And Paddy's going to bring you some really good insights about how you can adapt and how you become more resilient in these changing times. Two words we're hearing a lot of in all the different medias: how we're all going to adapt to things, how's your business going to adapt to things, and how are you going to adapt to things. And then also Paddy's going to focus on how you can become more resilient around all the different things that are going on. So we're going to hand it over to Paddy now, and we hope you enjoy it, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Hi everybody, how are you? Last week when we did the videos and work, I said I would do a video on Tuesday. So of course the plan was to be in work to do a video on Tuesday. But since we've been put into lockdown and I am working from home at the moment, so my Wi-Fi is not great, so hence the quality of the video. So but something that I, to talk about today is the options I'm given to walk away and not do this and, blame technology and say, oh, the Wi-Fi is crap, or I just get on and do this, So my intention is to help people. So I'll talk about intentions later on in this brief workshop. So my intention is to help people. Okay. So if the Wi-Fi is not great, so be it. So what I've done is I put together a couple of slides for you. And last week I said we'll talk about resilient teams and building resilient teams. And it got me thinking, resilient teams. So what do we need now? So resilient leaders, resilient teams, resilient parents, resilient carers, So we look at, what is resilient, and there's all these resilience programs out there. And the more I thought about it, kind of over the weekend, I went, what we need to do, I suppose, as leaders, as parents, as carers, is to understand how to manage our brain just a little bit better. Because if we can manage our brain a little bit better and build a more resilient brain by understanding our brain, then we'll be in a much better place. So I'll just crack in straight in. As I said, this is my first time doing this, so this is novelty. It's new for me. I had the option to go, back out and make every excuse under the sun. I suppose with everything that's happening at the moment now, what we need is for all of us to take action. So jump away from that fear and take action, even if it's small action. Okay, so I just want to go in here, figure out how to share. Okay, so for talking about, so I am on stop. Yeah, I'm on share. So what I wanted to do was talk about resilient teams. But then this really got me thinking, if we're expecting our teams to be resilient, or if we're expecting, our children to be resilient, we have to understand what resilience is ourselves as leaders. So what I'd like to do is, just take you through some small hints and tips that I use. And they definitely they'll help me kind of build my resilience, because I think if we understand just our brain a little bit more. So how do we manage our brain instead of our brain managing us? Okay, because sometimes we can be going around in this state where our brain is managing us as opposed to us managing our brain. So we look at resilience. So what is resilience? So the ability to recover quickly from adversity and stressful situations. Okay. So when you think about this, so ability to recover quickly from adversity and stressful situations. So we've just been handed something right across the world that none of us have any experience with. Our brains are certainty machines. So brains like to know what is going on, okay? But our brain won't. How can we know what's going to happen when it's something that's never happened before? So our brain's going to be searching for certainty, is looking for certainty. But there is no certainty there. But will there be growth for all of us on the back of this? I think so. Okay, I think it's Carl Dweck that talks about having a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. So a fixed mindset would be, we can't get through this, or I think she talked about it. We're what the level of intelligence that we're born with. It can't be changed, but of course it can be changed. So, do I see me growing through this? Yeah, absolutely. And I think we can all grow through this. So how do we? It's about bouncing back. So bounceability. So resilience is all about bounceability. So, just for a moment, I'd just like you to think about a situation, something that went wrong for you before, and that you bounced back. You found a strength somewhere to bounce back. So you can just think about that just for a minute, okay? Because we have that resilience there already, but sometimes we forget that we are already resilient. And, we think about resilience in teams then as well. And one thing we need to be very mindful of on our team. So some people are, and you'll see this, you'll see some people bounce back a lot quicker than other people. So we're all different. So just because if I bounce back from a situation quicker than somebody else, doesn't mean that I'm better than somebody else, okay? It means that person needs help. So practicing empathy in the workplace, as parents, as carers, practicing empathy, what's going on for that other person, so because we're all going through this together. So just think about empathy. What's going on for your team members? So remember, their brains is doing the very same thing as yours. Their brain is looking for certainty. And there's only small bits of certainty that we can give at the moment. But I'll talk about that just a little bit later on. So you think about resilience, so it's about bouncing back. So if you've thought about something there that you've bounced back from before, and you'll see people who have been through huge things in their life, and they tend to bounce back quicker. So they've built up this resilience over time. So what does a resilient team look like? A resilient team will look and act like their leader is. So how are you showing up as a leader? How are you showing up as a business owner? How are you showing up as a manager? How are you showing up as a parent? How are you showing up as a carer? Because how we show up is really, really important. Because people are looking to, kids are looking to their parents. People who are being cared for are looking to their carers. Our teams are looking to their managers, to their business owners. So really important to just think about how you are showing up at the moment. And are you showing up as your best possible self, or are you showing up from a place of fear? Okay. So there's a couple of things here. We all have good days and bad days at work. What makes the difference? What makes the difference between these good days and bad days in work? Why is it that some days we crack on with our work, think clearly, creatively, and feel energized? So why is this happening? Why is this happening sometimes? Sometimes we're having a great day. Other days, we just can't seem to get it together. And, from talking to people at the moment, it's a lot of people, I think, seem to be working from a place of fear. So I'll talk about this through the video. How do we move from a place of fear to a place that we're thinking from our higher brain as opposed to our emotional brain? So understanding your brain would mean we're thriving more. So what does understanding our brain look like? So I'll just exit out this for a second. Okay. Stop share. Sorry. Okay. So I just want to just give you just a little understanding of our brain, how our brains work. Okay. So if you can imagine, this is our brain. This is brainstem here. Okay. So we've got our primitive brain here. Okay. Then we've got our emotional brain here. Okay. And then we've got our logical brain here at the front. Okay. So logical brain, so our executive brain, executive brain is where we make all our decisions. So it's a higher level thinking. And then we've got our emotional brain. So in the emotional brain, we've two little things called amygdalas. Okay, so the amygdalas are there to sense threat. Okay, so to keep us safe. So when if you walk out in front of a car, the amygdala will go off. It senses threat. Releases cortisol into the system, noradrenaline into the system, okay, and puts us into a state of alert. Now, when we're staying there, so when you get that feeling and all that runs through your body, and it takes a few minutes to come back around to thinking kind of straight again. But if we're working from here, from this emotional brain, if we're working from the emotional brain, we're coming from a place of fear. So the threat, the amygdala is going off, the amygdala is sensing threat. Okay, can we make? I call this a state of wah. Can we make decisions when we're working from here? And the answer is no, because I think you might as well be drunk. If we're trying to make decisions, we're making decisions purely based on emotions, or purely based on fear. They're not going to be the right decisions. And we have a lot of decisions to make now, and I'm going to talk about decision making in a little bit too. What we need to be working here from the executive brain. Okay, so this is the prefrontal cortex. So working from the executive brain, we can make clearer decisions. This is where the planning happens. So I'll talk about that just a little bit later on. But so ask yourself now, when I show up and work, and when I showed up for the last week, have I been showing up from my emotional brain, from a place of threat and a place of fear, or have I been showing up from my executive brain? Because we need to be working from here. Okay, I'll just get back into share. Share. Okay. So understanding our brain. So if we understand our brains just a little bit more, we can become more resilient. We can increase our say in what happens. So instead of our brain managing us, we're managing our brain. And we can get back on track in difficult situations. So if we understand it, we can get back on track. Maybe if we're gone off on a tangent and we're working too much from the emotional brain. And it also helps us to, if we understand the brain, to be more self-aware, to understand ourselves and what's happening within ourselves. Okay. So something that we're always, if you're on a flight, and we're always told to put on our own oxygen mask first. So why are we told to do that? Because we can't help others if we're struggling ourselves. So if you think about this, so, when I'm doing this video, I said, how can we, help our customers, but also help parents, also help carers. So if we're struggling ourselves, we can't help others, okay? So putting on our own oxygen mask first is really important, okay? So understanding what we need to do in order for us to show up as good leaders, as good parents, as good carers. If we're leading through times of change, we need to make sure that we're coping, okay? So, change, we know, change in organizations can be difficult, but here's a big piece of change that we've just been handed, and we're unsure. We don't know how to, so we're trying to figure out how to work our way through this. So if we're not at our best, so if you think about this, if we're not at our best, how can we expect our teams to be at our best? Okay, so how do we learn to show up at our best, and and show up as our authentic selves. And I think a huge thing from a leadership point of view, and we'll do more videos over the next couple of weeks, months, just around leadership. But I think leadership now, we as leaders, we need to be showing up with our hearts. You know, we need to be showing up with our hearts. We need to be creating trust on our team. We need to be helping to create some piece of certainty. And I think communication with our teams, hugely important. That daily communication with our teams or weekly communication with our teams, really, really, really important now. So showing up. So how do we show up? How do we, putting on our own oxygen mask first? Okay. So emotions are contagious. Okay. So if you think emotions are contagious, so you walk into a room and there's a bit of crack going on and people are laughing. Okay. Straight away, your brain picks this up. And it puts you into this happy state. Now, if I'm showing up and I'm showing up in work from a place of fear, okay, or a place of anger, my team are going to pick up on that. If I'm doing this as a parent, my kids are going to pick up on that. If I'm doing this as a carer, the person I'm caring for is going to pick up on that. So really important for us to understand that emotions are contagious, and how we show up is so important. If we're in a place of fear, okay, we're in a place of fear, and so the little amygdala, our emotional brain, is going off, and we're in this constant state of threat. Cortisol has been released into our systems, right? Cortisol is a stress hormone. It is there, so when we walk out in front of that car, it kicks in. But you bring this into the workplace, and if we're working from a place of fear, or something that I would be conscious of is, a lot of leaders will probably have done loads of leadership training over the years. And then when something like this happens, so something completely out of our control, the danger is that we can move back into a command and control style of leadership. And that's not what our teams are looking for. Our teams are not looking for that like right now. Our teams are looking to be led, okay? And we don't want, if we're moving to this command and control style of leadership, and we're creating even more threat and more fear in the office, what we're doing is releasing cortisol into our system, so stress hormone into our system, but we're also releasing it into our team system. So people on our team, and we release cortisol into our system, that can stay there for 24 to 26 hours. So every interaction we have with somebody, there's neurochemicals going off in each person. So just to be mindful of that, because you'll notice that, if something happens, if you have an argument with somebody, you could have an argument with someone, say in the morning, or something went wrong in the morning, and you're still thinking about that the next morning. That's the cortisol in your system. So really important for us to be mindful of how we could be releasing these stress hormones into ourselves, but into our teams, into our families. And to remember that emotions are contagious. So let's bring about positive emotions in people. I'll talk about humor at the end. So humor, really important now. Human laughter. I get that into your day. Get humor. So when you're planning your week, schedule humor. So schedule to sit down and look at your favorite YouTube videos or an episode of Friends or whatever it may be. Schedule humor, schedule fun, because it's really, 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 really important right now. Okay, so we talk about stress. So we're saying cortisol release into your system, noradrenaline release into a system. So these put us into a state of threat. Okay. Now there's two different types of stress. Okay. So we've got de-stress, which everybody is familiar with. Okay. So this is negative stress. So negative stress creates fear. The feelings of shame. Cortisol is released into the system. Okay. And then we've got eustress. Okay. So eustress. So it's a positive form of stress. So say I would have felt this morning. So coming on to do a video so that, you know, I could let the fear kick in and go, Jesus, Paddy, you're going to do a video and, you know, people are going to judge you, and all these stupid thoughts come into my head, right? Or I could look at it and go, okay, so here's a way. So I'm going to grow by doing this today, and I'm going to help other people. So the emotions that kick in, so emotions of curiosity, emotions of growth. So it's that I'm trying something new. So two different types of stress. Eustress is where we need to be. Okay, so now understanding, right? So our brains have limited capacity. Okay, so our brains use up 20% of the energy that we take in, and our brains don't like change. Okay, our brain doesn't want to use up much energy. It wants to protect its energy, and it'll always try and take the path of least resistance. So even me doing this video this morning, when my Wi-Fi is not good, so my brain is going, "Oh, you don't need to do this, Paddy." Okay, so our brain is trying to protect my energy, and I'm going, "You don't need to do this." So just be mindful of, you know, how our brain can take the path of least resistance, and sometimes how lazy our brains can be. So our brains will, if you think about, so our brains use up 20% of our energy. So things that are really, really important now is that we're eating properly, and that we're drinking loads of water. That we're getting some meditation in. So when we think about making decisions, then, you know, so when we get up in the morning, we have loads of decisions, loads of decisions to make, right? So how does our brain go about making the decisions? And I'm sure we've had these days, and we've got 10 different things going on, or 10 different things going on in our head. I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. And every time we're thinking about these, we're using up our brain's mental energy. And every time we do that, you know, energy is dropping in the brain, and then we find it even harder and harder and harder to make decisions. So how do we go about making decisions? The best way for making decisions, getting up in the morning, or even doing this the night before. So so to take a pen and paper there now and go, so what decisions do I need to make today? Write down all the decisions, and then prioritize your decisions, you know, from 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, and make one decision at a time. Make one decision at a time, because this will help. And again, this will be taking you from your emotional brain, okay, to your logical brain. So what decisions do I need to make? So decisions I needed to make this morning was, okay, I've promised that I would do a video, okay. So the decision I need to make is I just need to take action on it, okay. So you'll see, you know, our brains makes loads of decisions throughout the day, and sometimes we can be wasting our mental energy. So, you know, I think it's, you know, if you look at, so it's simple things like what am I going to wear? So like Barack Obama wears, you know, I think gray and blue shirts. So he wears them the whole time. Mark Zuckerberg, they could see gray as well. You'll see Simon Cowell, you know, jeans, white shirt, or jeans and a black T-shirt. They're wearing the same colors the whole time because they don't want to use up their brain's mental energy making decisions on what they need to make. So you think about that, okay? So that's the less decisions that we have to make, the better. So understanding what decisions we need to make for our team, what decisions I need to make for my family, getting them out of our head and onto paper, really important. And then just literally just do one thing. Just do one thing at a time, and let's be mindful of our brain's energy. So or how we can deplete our brain's energy. Something else to think about is the rhythm of your day. So what's the rhythm of your day look like? So the morning for me, I'm at my best in the morning. That's the time for me to do the more difficult tasks. 11 o'clock, I'll hit a slump. After lunch, I'm good again, and then the afternoon, 4 o'clock of that, I'll take a dip. So my brain's getting tired. So, do I make any decisions at that time in the day? No. There's no point. And I understand, because I could be making a wrong decision. I could be making a decision based purely on my emotions. So I'll give you little hints and tips just at the end. On what we can do. Okay, so this is what I've just talked about. So decision making depletes our brain's energy. Okay, so just think about how you can, what decisions can you make on a daily basis, but what can you do in the morning? What takes up the most energy? Do the tasks that take the most energy first. And help your team to do this as well, and help children do this as well. So how can we help our teams to understand what decisions to make in the morning? So we need to be clear with our teams as to what decisions we would like them to make. And then when we're making the decisions, working from here, from our executive brain. So some little hints and tips for you. So if we're going to show up with a more resilient brain and understand our brain a little bit better, okay. So prioritize your tasks. So some of this I know all this, but sometimes we forget to do it, especially when we're working from our emotional brain. So prioritize tasks. What needs to be done? Label them 1 to 5, and remember, your brain is lazy. It's going to try and take the path of least resistance. So it could be pushing them bigger decisions off of you, but you need to sit and go, what's really important now? What's really, really important that I need to make a decision on? And just be mindful that our brain could try and take the path of least resistance. Okay, set hourly, daily goals. Okay, so hourly goals. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to set off the reward circuitry in our brains. Okay, because when we're moving towards something and we complete something that makes us feel good, so the reward circuitry goes off in our brains. So setting daily goals, setting things to achieve by a certain time, and doing this with your team, celebrating these with your team as we get them done. Really, really important, because if we don't feel we've something to work towards, then boredom kicks in, and boredom is not good for not good for our brains. Structure your day. Really, really, really important. Have a structure to know between 9 and 11. This is what I'm going to be doing. 11 to lunchtime. Having this structure, because especially for us who are working from home now, because motivations could take a dip, especially if we haven't put structure around what we're doing. Write down the important decisions. As I said earlier on, write down the important decisions. Even when you finish up work this evening, write down what decisions I need to make tomorrow morning. That stops your brain then from having to think about them, because you wrote down what decisions I need to make. Then the next morning, then make the decisions. Don't check emails. Cancel your phone updates. So if we're constantly checking emails, so if we're typing something and we're checking emails, every time we go to check, we'll just be mindful that we're depleting our brain's energy. So we're taking some of that energy, and again, our brains will try to go off and be distracted. But we don't need to be distracted right now. We need to be doing the best we can do for ourselves, doing the best we can do for our teams. Multitasking. So There's a whole body of research there now in neuroscience. This used to be a big thing. I remember when I first started working, and it was on everyone's CV. I'm a great multitasker. Multitasking is a thing of the past. Multitasking, neuroscience has shown us that we can't multitask. Okay, so if we try to multitask, if I'm doing one thing and then move to another thing and then move to another thing, for me to get back into the first thing I was working for, so science is telling us now that it takes about 20 to 25 minutes to get back into where you were working on that first task. So people coming over, people interrupting, allowing people to interrupt you, allowing emails to interrupt you. These are all going to affect your productivity, okay? Understand what tires your mind. So what is it, what tasks tire my mind, and what tasks am I better doing in the morning, or, when I'm at my peak throughout the day. So say morning, I'm at my best, and just after lunch at my best. So they're the times that I'll do the things that are more taxing on the brain. Avoid small talk. So if we're having small talk conversations, so and especially these negative conversations, but everything that's going on at the moment, if you think someone's asking you to think about. So how's this affecting your business? That's depleting your brain's energy. So just think about, what conversations need to be had, what conversations are bringing my mood down, what conversations could I be having with my team that could be bringing their mood down, what conversations could I be having that could be putting my team or putting my kids or putting the person I'm caring for into a state of fear. Because sometimes we can be doing this unknowingly. Okay. Block out thinking time for aha moments. Really, really important. People will say, I haven't got time to think. Block out time every day for this time to think. You'll hear people saying, oh, it came to me in the shower, because that's when we're not, our brain's not going mad thinking about it, and stuff will just come in. So getting out in nature and blocking off time for yourself, for your brain to relax, really, really, really important. Learning to stay in the reward state. Okay, so if we're stay in the reward state, so if you're having a bad day, you can use visualization here. So think of a time when you did something really, really well. Okay, so when we do this, our brains will bring about those feelings. Okay, so straight away it will take us back into that feeling of us doing really well. So it's a great way for us to get back into a positive state of mind. So just taking that couple of minutes to go, okay, when's the last time I did something really, really well? And even if you do that there now, think about something that you did really, really well and you're really, really proud of. Okay, that's going to bring about positive emotions. Okay, and then exercise, be mindful, getting meditation in, water, eating regularly is really, really important because we need to maintain blood sugar levels. And then set intentions. So if you're going to a meeting, so set intentions for each meeting. If we're going into a meeting expecting the worst, we'll show it. So as leaders, if we're going in and we are thinking this meeting is going to be tough, it's going to be hard, we are going to show up in that way. And remember that emotions are contagious. Our team are going to pick these emotions up from us. And our job is to keep our brains functioning as best that they can and to keep our team's brains functioning as best as they can. Humor, fun, and laughter. Okay, really important. Set aside time every single day, especially now what we're going through in the world. Set aside time for humor, fun, laughter. So something that I'm doing with our teams. Once a week, I put a phone call to each member of our team, and what I call it is a vent and laugh call. So what we do is we get to vent about things that could be going on, or things that's annoying them. So 10 minutes of that, because it's really important not to suppress emotions. It's really important to talk about our emotions, talk about how we're feeling. And then the last 20 minutes, it's laugh. So what are we going to laugh about? What's good? What's happening that's good right now? Think about things in the past that have worked really, really well. So really important for us. And, Irish have a great out sense of humour. So let's not forget about humour. Bring the humour into your workplace. Bring that humour into your home, into that person that if you're for carers, you're caring for people. Okay. And so that's it. So how can we be more resilient? So I suppose it's for us to, let's escape at this, for us to, okay. So if we understand our brains just a little bit more, we can then be more resilient. So how do we build that resilient brain? So think about all them things that I've put through. So all the notes there are in the slides. That's it. Thank you very, very much for taking your time to listen to me. And any questions, please feel free to contact me. I'm more than happy to help out with any questions that you may have. Okay, stay resilient, have fun, and we'll catch up soon. Cheers.